In the Spanish Grand Prix, Mercedes' internal championship aspirations were rekindled. In the midst of Lewis Hamilton's heroic comeback from the first lap's collision to finish 6th, George Russell resolutely held off Max Verstappen on his way to 3rd. Without the early collision, according to Toto Wolff, Hamilton might have won. This was an overly positive spin, as Autosport revealed. Hamilton, however, may have snatched an incredible 9th home victory at Silverstone. Verstappen's damage, Perez's early pit stop, and the most recent Ferraris Strategy error gave him a boost, but the W13 was significantly better. The Silverstone asphalt was smooth, and the Silver Arrows had received a major improvement to lessen bouncing and increase speed. While only placing 6th in Canada, Mercedes was the 3rd fastest manufacturer according to the Super Times, and it was only 0.092 seconds slower than Ferrari. Only Carlos Sainz's average of the top 10 laps was faster than that of Hamilton. The performance represented progress. Before Sergio Perez ran him out of room, Hamilton's audacious double overtake through club brought the crowd to its feet and demonstrated once again how he can perform at a higher level when at home. The W13 is a delicate creature, so the new pace might not last at every circuit, but Mercedes should take heart from the fact that there was more evidence on display last weekend. Certainly, when contrasted with its false dawn in Barcelona, Wolff is much more cautious than before, even though the Spanish gains were just temporary. We've had in Barcelona moments of where we saw some light at the end of the tunnel. Then the next 3 street circuits proved that we were wrong, so I don't want to talk us up nor be too optimistic at this stage. Lewis Hamilton was able to contend with Ferrari for the victory thanks to a number of W13 modifications and the Silverstone circuit's clean, fast surface. The fact that Hamilton was able to compete for a podium slot on pure pace indicated a significant improvement for his Brackley-based team, even though he ultimately finished 3rd behind race winner Carlos Sainz and the recuperating Sergio Perez. Wolff is adamant that his team won't make the same error it did during this year's Spanish Grand Prix, despite the British Grand Prix result showing that Mercedes is making significant progress with its car. Mercedes hoped that after that race, in which Hamilton displayed a similarly high pace, it had turned a corner and could now aim for better outcomes. However, the team's troubles at succeeding venues since then, including particularly difficult periods in Monaco and Baku, proved to be a wake-up call. Wolff argued that the Silverstone performance was far from sufficient for Mercedes to feel that the team could go on the offensive going forward in an exclusive interview with the media. When asked if he thought the team's mentality could change after the British Grand Prix, Wolff responded, "No, not yet." Wolff believes Silverstone revealed the fact that his team needs to make progress with improving the ride of its car, even though the Mercedes is demonstrating a definite step forward in performance compared to pace setters Red Bull and Ferrari. Both Hamilton and colleague George Russell had persistent bouncing during the fast turns at Silverstone, albeit this wasn't as bad as some other teams. Asked on whether he felt that Mercedes could at least feel it now has a solid direction with the W13, Wolff said, "We hit direction in Barcelona too. We still have our ride issue that we had over all 3 days, less so in the race, and that's something we need to tackle." Wolff believes the Austrian F1 track this weekend may be a better indicator of his team's performance, because it has historically not been particularly kind to Mercedes. There's a few corners which in the past didn't make our car happy, so that's something we need to look at, he said. But it's a constant learning curve. I think this season is going to be a pretty tough one to win, so we just need to get our ducks in a row to be properly on top of the car's performance. What are your thoughts on the W13? Is the car fast enough to get a race win anytime soon? Let us know in the comments. Lewis Hamilton had a very successful home weekend and came in 3rd in England. The Mercedes driver was able to stay up with the leading Ferraris at various points during the race. The British driver thinks his team is not quite in the running for victories, but they are not far off. On Sunday of the British Grand Prix, Hamilton was able to maintain his outstanding performance from the previous 2 races at Silverstone. After a fierce battle in the race's closing laps with competitors like Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez, the 7-time world champion finished 3rd, scoring his 3rd podium of the season. The British driver set the fastest lap this year, proving his car is more competitive than ever. The car was fast and the porpoising appeared to be much less. At the FIA press conference following the race, Hamilton faced the media. He said, "I think it's very encouraging that we were in the fight. I was on the same pace as Ferrari for a long time and was even faster at times. With the upgrade, the race pace has definitely improved. Although the Mercedes racing performance wasn't the worst aspect, the porpoising severely constrained the W13. Hamilton thinks his team will likely go up to the first step of the podium this year since the bumps appear to be less frequent and the race pace to be faster. It's helped us get closer. We're not in a position to win yet, but we're not far away. After his lap 33 pit stop, the British driver, who'd briefly led his first few laps of the season, was passed by both Ferrari drivers Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. The safety car provided an opportunity for Hamilton, Perez and Sainz, the eventual winner, to put on soft tyres before the final restart. Hamilton, Perez and Ferrari driver Leclerc, who was racing in 4th place, engaged in a breathtaking battle in the closing laps of the race. Asked if he enjoyed the battle, Hamilton replied, "I definitely did. This was very reminiscent of the karting days, and I feel like that's Formula 1 at its best. The fact that we were able to follow and dice like that lap by lap is a testament to the direction I think we're now in. I was grateful that I could be in the battle, because I've not been in that fight for a while." With his 10th race of the year, Hamilton was questioned if it was a strange feeling to take the lead for the first time this season in a heavily modified Mercedes W13. It's not a strange feeling at all. I've had plenty of years in my career, not plenty, but I've definitely had years in my career that I haven't had wins for a period of time. The progress we've made over the past couple of races has definitely given us hope that there's more to come. There's potential in this car, and we have to keep doing our due diligence, keep our heads down, stay focused, and not give up. Do you think Lewis Hamilton will win his first race of the season soon? Or is the W13 too slow in comparison to the Red Bull and Ferrari cars? We'd love to hear your opinion. Christian Horner believes Ferrari weren't the only one to make mistakes in their strategy, as Mercedes decided to put Hamilton on the safer hard rather than the fastest soft, a decision that Horner believes was incorrect, since it prevented the team from taking full use of its performance advantage over Ferrari. I was actually surprised that Lewis, with the amount of laps to go and the degradation that he's shown, didn't take a soft, explained Horner. He went onto the hard tyre on lap 33, and I actually thought he was going to go onto the soft, because that would have made it much easier for him to make the offsetting grip. It felt like they, Ferrari, have maybe been let off the hook there. Furthermore, Sainz's failure to be moved out of Leclerc's path early in the race and Ferrari's decision to not pit its monogas driver during the last safety car raises doubts in Horner's mind about Ferrari's own strategy decision. Everybody's different, aren't they? Every team is different, he said about the team's approach. I suppose that the call I understood least was not to pit both their cars, or certainly Charles for the soft tyre at the safety car. Ferrari decided against pitting both cars because it thought there was not time to double stack, and it didn't want Leclerc to come in and give Hamilton the lead if he continued. But Horner thinks it should have. Hamilton obviously had a free stop, said Horner, and when you're the lead car, it's the hardest thing in the world to pit from the lead. But I think even if Lewis would have stayed out with the tyre advantage of the soft, that's Ferrari, would have repassed him. Do you think Lewis could have won the race if Ferrari had pitted both cars and he stayed on hards? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video until the end. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.